everybody, and welcome to today's Cast and the Fly. My name is Cassandra, and we're having an infiltration of an influencer, and I'll specifically name the name because he's looking for attention, is the real Rahul Rai. He breaks through an occasion and tries to abuse audiences, and I just don't appreciate it. I don't care about your money. I don't care about your status. I do not care about that nonsense. That's the concern that we have, is that these people don't understand real life. So these people could have everything that they say they are and want to be. However, you actually have to do an effort and a work that it takes to get those things for yourself. You don't make them up in manifestation. That's like imagination of creativity. You want to be manifesting creativity and coming up with ideas on how to help other people while assisting yourself in being joyful and happiness. See, the problem is everybody's being programmed in all sorts of different directions that all are centered around the most shallow, self-centered, egotistical behavior associated to sexual orientation and race, while expecting only themselves to be safe, while the rest of us suffer, while saying that's equality. See, people from other countries don't know what equality actually means, because Black Lives Matter promoted this bullshit lie of that they weren't being treated equally. You all are mentally ill. House of Representatives, if you are like the Palestinian woman supporting your country to come into this country, you're a traitor to this country. You're a traitor to the United States of America. That goes for AOC. You want to understand that these people are not standing up for anything. That's the stand up for nothing and you fall for everything. They're only focused on the votes that would get them if they support these people. Then they call that democracy with no law and order. Understand what I just said, and you'll understand a bad leader. So when we're looking at the internet, we're looking at individuals who are behaving badly. They're criminals, they're abusive. You can come up with an idea in your head, and then they'll jump in front of the idea and say, I'm special. And then you say, you're special now. And they take that energy, and instead of doing a confidence thing within themselves, they look for external validation consistently and then call themselves influencer. So if somebody behaves like that, are they actually helping people or are they hurting people? Are they helping or hurting? They're hurting, because you teach people how to be insecure. You teach people how to be codependent. You teach people how to get validation. Whether you say it, whether you don't say it, you're weak individuals, which makes our country weak and the globe weak for the evil people to be in our faces, and we don't want them in our faces. So these people are in our faces when we say get out. When we say get out, they don't leave. So you could be in a really great mood and they're in a really crappy place in their existence, and they see your greatness as their opportunity to steal from you. So in a relationship with two people, I'll give this as an example. You have a great family. Your life has been wonderful. You then meet somebody who occurs because you're such a good person and you're so happy. They come into your life and you give them everything. Then they cheat on you and they abuse you. Then they laugh about it behind your back, and they still continuously abuse you while they come to you and tell you how great you are. That leaves you depleted, but that leaves them lifted up in a narcissistic personality disorder. That would be every relationship that I've ever been in prior to Gary Vee. The only person I've been in a relationship with who's ever done anything for me would be Gary Vee. He's undercover, folks. What part of that don't you understand? But you said, but you said, but you said. We're also learning in that discussion is that you fall for everything because you don't stand for anything. It's very obvious and very clear that that woman is mentally ill. I've consistently educated you that we're shifting perspectives on a constant basis so that you all can wake up to the realities of what the perspective shifts are if you're in the wrong mindset. The mindset of reality does not have anything to do with people's opinions. It has to do with the factual evidence of how people behave. So these people like to live in pie in the sky of nasty fluff talk that gets them on a pedestal and you going, well, what do I do now? What do I do now? What now? What now? Oh, well, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Buy this and pay me and go to my seminar and this is what you'll get. And then now what do I do? Well, you're going to buy this seminar. Now what? Buy this seminar. Now what? Buy this seminar. And then you still haven't grown in your business. So now what you're going to do is you're going to like my video, you're going to share my video, and now I'm bigger than you are, and you're still in the same position. That's a Ponzi scheme. Because the bottom line of this is Marie Forleo has absolutely nothing to educate on. She just wanted to be famous and be rich. She literally says she has a special relationship with money. You never say that in any form. You never make your content about money. That's creating greed. That's irresponsible. And she will not hold herself accountable for anything that she's done because that's how these women operate. They just want to be looked at in a specific way of how incredibly smart they are, or how incredibly good looking they are, or how incredibly wealthy they are, or how incredibly whatever it is that they want in their brain, and they manifest it. And then they create an acting role to that thing. That's called their version of brand and image. You want to take a look, if you could, what I taught you in this last 4 or 5 days was pertinent to everyone on any form of level of existence. Because this doesn't just happen on big platforms with people producing content. It accentuates it on a whole nother level. Now this happens in real time with husband to wife, with a woman at your business. People don't have strong relationships anymore because people get married based off the way people look, or lust, or sex, or money. And women are very, very selfish because they will specifically target men based on, like Luke Bryan is an example of a target. Luke Bryan was targeted because he was attractive, charming, and money. And so they frou-frou their way into a snake, like the women are the snake oil salesmen. And then you think that she actually really likes you. So the potential for a real relationship's actually there. But you really have to fight for it. This is old way. I would assume that this is old way and we're like finally waking up to the reality. Maybe, I don't know. Because a relationship is not, so like if you watch content from anyone who's in a relationship, like Noah and Melissa Wood, they've been married for how many years? And look at how they pose and what they post. If you've been married for that long and you still don't know your partner, that's what it looks like. You're not in a real relationship. It's a brand and an image. They live on the outskirts of connecting with their spouse. And she's supposed to be a yoga teacher teaching people about this shit. Insecure garbage because she and he want to be rich. She wants to go to parties and he's like, okay, well, we'll make it happen. That's New York style relationships. Well, I have to tell you, it's global relationships at this point. Americans were the best, I would say, at creating, this is why people are jealous of America. It's because they love our culture. They love what you're seeing on my platform when it comes to Gary and myself is American culture. When I'm not having to battle a Persian, when I'm producing content in collaboration with specifically Even just me and Donald Trump is American. When you're watching me to even speak with DeSantis, Ted Cruz, Kemp, Governor Kemp, those are your leaders. Those are actual leaders within the government, like real strong, holding the ground for the advancement of success. But not even has to be growth. You have lids so that the whole world can thrive. That's why we collaborate with countries so that the world can thrive. But see, the Middle East never wants to work with anyone unless they're the ones winning. And that's what Monavand is showing us. And that's what influencers have taken on characteristics of. That's what Hollywood has always done to us. Why is Hollywood putting their fucking noses in politics? Because they have a career at stake of controlling you as the audience. For example, Adam Levine is a Republican. Facts. His album was called Red Pill Blues, meaning he's being controlled by the government. Democrats specifically. Obama came in and saw opportunity because he found out secrets because the CIA was giving all this Pakistani, all our secrets. So our country has sold us out to Obama. He manipulated you into believing he was a leader. He was and is not black. He's Pakistani. He lied about his mother. He lied about his father. He lied about everything. And then they all adopted and adapted to what he did, which is what Monavand has done. So they hired in people from the Middle East to use our country like vultures, to pick us all apart, to create nasty youth. The youth of millennial, and I always say this, they're horrific. Dear Media is horrific. The woman on Dear Media is fucking horrible. Men are being enslaved into this because they trusted their partners, their spouses. However, people are waking up to the reality that it's more important for the country to thrive than for the woman at Lauren Bostic at Dear Media. You're a traitor to this country, girl. You talk about camel toe. You talk about nonsense so that you can win and an audience can feel less than. And then you invite women just like yourself to abuse all of us in a white background. Does my background hurt or help you, audience? You want this kind of shit behind me. Some of you have too much shit. Like there's one guy that was just on and he had like puzzles and his shit was just too much. But that's easy to fix. It just says a lot about who you are, and it's a lot of distracting. So there's an overabundance or there's an undercurrent of psychosis. So you're extremists is what you all are, to get attention from an audience instead of conversating with people. So I always have to talk in like a heightened version, which I'm actually really want to try work on that. To wake you up to, actually, you know what it is? It's the wall of Democrat is what I break through. It's the Ponzi of the lie. So it's like a thick wall of lies, corruption, abuse, fake happy. So I said the word happy and you thought something. That's brainwashing. But I'm telling you it's fake happy. So you're over here in the Ponzi, laughing, crying, moving in and out of all this shit, of their fucking nasty shit. So the Ponzi people are in this. Money, connections, control, Control. See, they want to disintegrate. This is really big coming up for me right now. I'm telling you money. I'm telling you connection and control. And they're whitewashing the emotion associated to what I'm telling you. To where you kind of go, it's not that big of a deal, or I don't feel anything. That's how you make AI robots. You don't want to be an AI robot. I got some in my tooth. It's driving me nuts. I just ate oatmeal. So then I'm over here. But look at how thick the wall is. And there's like a lot of them. Whitewashed. There's a lot of them out there. There's influencers, there's Hollywood, there's the Democrats. So all this is Democrat. Trump's over here with me too. So are some other people. But Trump kind of goes over here too. Gary goes back and forth too. Because they're kind of in here, but they're over here. And I'm outside. I'm an outsider. I'm like outside looking in. Gary's in it. Trump's in it. And so sometimes when you're in it, you can't see clearly. And even sometimes when I'm over here, them are bashing. Right? They're beating me up. That would be photographs of Gary and Mona. Purposely to hurt me, but to hurt you. Notice how I was going through a whole phase of being okay with what they were producing. And then all of a sudden I raged. To advance you faster as audience to be aware of what this bitch was up to. It's called terrorism, but you aren't seeing it because she's whitewashing you. She's elegantly producing content, but they're all doing the same thing. Creating an earth of pain globally. Everything, I always go back to say that Gary is saying authentic and truths. However, if you're in good intentions behind what you're producing, these people don't have any good intentions for you. They don't want you to succeed, but they're telling you that they want you to succeed. They're telling you that they're good people, but they're bad people. They're manipulating. This is the hard part too, right? We're going to bring in Rye real fast. He's like, I won. Gary and Rye. They do not mix. The energy is they do not mix. See, Rye built his audience off of women's arousal of vagina. Humor and comedy and all this other weird shit. Why is it weird is because it was being fueled by the audience, which are all perverted women. So there's this level of perspective to look at Rye and say, he's undercover. Sit with that for a moment. Then there's a perspective of, hold on. This is the part that gets confusing. He's around all these bitches. But all these bitches have ideas in their head of who Rye is to them. That's my love. That's my babe. That's my boyfriend. Even if they're not saying it out loud and they're married to somebody else. But this is a whole different level than what Brad Pitt had to go through. So when I conversate with Rye, they're telling me, well, that's me, that Gary doesn't like him. But Gary's a good person and we want good men to win. Then they're telling us, this is how it gets really confusing, that he's Indian and he can't be trusted. Then he's telling me, or they're telling me, he's a Democrat And then I can go watch his videos in his new apartment and get really, like, it's just sickening to, I don't like his new apartment at all. But you gotta, this is the part that I have a hard time explaining, because their thoughts affect how he's perceived as perception, as an energy weight, Rye. Whitewash. So they can whitewash me to him, and they like the arousal he offers. But I also know that Rye is a financial guy. He wants to do financial. Like, he wants to talk about finances. This is the hard part about you morons. Women need to learn how to be around money. But when Rye does financial information, nobody wants to listen to it. And then he's also surrounded by LA and dirtbag shit. So that's an important thing to understand, of knowing thyself and not caring about other people. Because we don't want codependent relationships. We want people to independently create. This is America. So we can't trust him because we don't know where he actually stands. And that's just where we're at. So you have to be okay with where people are and their journeys, because he's also a millennial, or maybe he's a Gen Z. I think he's a millennial. So it's so multidimensional too, because he's Indian. It's pedaling back and forth in conversation. So, for example, I can communicate with Gary, and Gary will say, conviction, but it's not actually Gary. Don't talk to him, he's bad. That's not Gary talking. Do you see how they word throw it? So it's like going to a party and you run into somebody who knows Rye, and you say, oh yeah, me and Rye are dating. And then the girl says, oh, well, he just went out on a date with her last week. But it was a lie. He didn't actually go on a date with her last week. That's the same shit I'm talking about. So it's like, Gary didn't say, or this, you're at a conference and you said that Gary said that, let me see, it's all gossip. Well, Gary said that if you produce content, that your content would go viral. How many pieces of content are you producing? I produce like once a day. Well, that's what Gary told me, but you say it in a way that's so convincing that this is like kind of a weak example, but I think you're kind of getting what I'm saying. It has to be more vicious. It's like telling you that Gary said something that he didn't actually say that makes you feel like they're your enemy, or trying to destroy your career, or try to destroy that person's career. See how webbed out it is? Whitewashed. Not sure from where. So Rye's got all this nasty energy around him. And another thing that they say is, this is your, they call it they say the Achilles heel or something like that for Gary. And that's just not true. So they play both sides. Because we're friends, the three of us are friends. And so I'll say, this is the crazy part. I'll say to Gary and to Rye in the same room, I'll say, we're friends. And then everyone will agree to friends. And then something will be spoken in the trio of conversation, and an outside source will have said something or experienced something or seen something, and they'll say, Rye's trying to steal her. Rye did something evil or something to piss off Gary. This It's so childish, but it's true. It's like intense. And then add drinking. If you're drinking, I don't know. I don't have experiences like this around drinking. Honestly, it's like in real world, it is like this though. Anyway, back to this. Okay, so these people send out bullets all about anyone that tries to come near me. They do it with babies. They do it with Gary. They do it with Rye. They do it with everybody. I don't even like to bring in Rye very much because his crew is so volatile. It's really what I'm trying to tell you. It's so volatile. So there's no acceptance of a person that people agree to who is a nice person as a woman. In their minds, they had to be vicious, vile criminals in order to be accepted by the women. You understand how that's working over there with women? So every one of these bitches are pretending to be nice to each other, but they fucking hate each other. They have selfish intentions. They want to be seen as in a specific way. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to do any work. They want to pretend their way to the top. They want to show titties and pussies if they have to get their fucking way. They want the diamond. They want the ring, and they'll do whatever it fucking takes to get it. That means walking all over everybody. So they're all walking all over everybody, all on eggshells, and they're educating on joy and happiness, and then they're showing off children and infants. Using and capitalizing off the Shirley Temple laws that no one's enforcing. Moving into now, they don't want to accept anything I have to say because it makes and calls their asses out. So they all collectively in little mini groups come together to violently attack any person that says that that's not right. And so then they're maliciously, let's just say these are groups now, maliciously in groups abusing each other, and then they all want to gang up together and they want to find a person or something to gang up on, and so they try to gang up on me. However, all their shit, and I say this often, all their shit is nothing more than elementary school. It's like the purple potato girl in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where she wants it and she wants it now. That's these women. That's who you married. Noting that they have children that they're trying to raise, and then their mothers are similar to them. It's hard to find an American woman anymore. I'm like, are there any American women? Because what these people do, let's say they're middle class influencers, is that they then gossip with the people not on the internet or the people who don't have a following, and then they gang up on each other and want control. And don't forget about the OnlyFans sluts, because those are the darkest of the dark. Then those people try to gang up in ideologies of how a woman's supposed to be, while telling you that feminine rights and reproductive freedom, living in fantasy land off of an illusion of what these women have tried to educate on. They're not intelligent. They're Victoria's Secret models. You're working off Victoria's Secret model entitlement. You're not a Victoria's Secret model. The biggest, the fattest, the ugliest women take on the personification of a Victoria's Secret model now, to where a man that would never touch that shit does a double take, because it's called manipulation. Because they're in these Zoom calls and secret meetings to abuse all of you. This is nothing more than sexual assault. It's interesting, and I want to talk about the sexual assault cases that were claimedly for Donald Trump. I was like walking on the walk today, and I was thinking to myself, what a bunch of jokers. Like, if you take a factual look at the personality of the woman, the first woman who named her cat Vagina, and the way she spoke on the news broadcast of the conversation, she said, he didn't actually rape me. He didn't do anything to you. You just got paid by the Democrats. witch hunt. And then Stormy Daniels shows up in interviews, and you can clearly see that she's disgraceful and disgusting, and that none of that shit happened. But because the government is telling you that it happened, Democrat government who's weaponizing the judicial system, it's common sense. He's not the criminal, he's the victim. Donald Trump is the victim. I'm the victim. But this is what real life looks like when you're being victimized. Gary Vee's a victim, by the way. I'll say Rye might be a victim too. I would say Adam Levine's a victim. Travis Barker's a victim. There's a lot of victims out there, but we're not going to go there because what we're doing as victims is we're not lying our swords down. We're fighting for our lives. So like all you pieces of shit at the bottom, because there's some dark shit up in here. There's some really dark shit up in here. Charli D'Amelio, Kim Kardashian, nasty ass fucking energy. You're all in it. And then there's the people over here who it actually really affects. Those are the customers. But these people control the thoughts and the minds and the money because they get seen by the most people. So Kim Kardashian shows up at an Indian wedding, thinks she's the fucking shit, and then everyone puts some sort of a vibe on that, and then she thinks she's a fucking princess queen. She ain't American. That shit ain't American. She wants to be an Armenian. They want to recreate kings and queens based on the whitewashing that you see at Kim Kardashian's house. Shallow as fuck. While she robs Kanye West of alimony or child, what is it? When you give the mother child support. What the fuck do you need child support for? Because you're greedy as fuck. She's trying to bankrupt him. That's how greedy these people are. So now I'm over here. We'll say I have 200 followers, although we might have more. And then these people are constantly fueling your mind with lies. And then I'm showing you truths. And then I have to talk like this to get through the noise. There's all this noise. Then we've got undercover agents going on events and trips to not, it's like instigating, but it's not instigating because you're allowing it to happen. That's how you go undercover. Think about it, folks. And I've talked to you about this before. You go undercover and you just allow. This is what Gary talks about when he talks about kindness. I fucking hate this shit. He hates it. So he allows her to sit in. All she's doing is sitting in there. They hate each other. But she plays a brand and image on her platform. And then he plays the role of whatever it is that they're expecting him to do, which is basically just standing there. Standing there smiling. To enrage me. Now, you want to really, as an audience, understand what I just said. Why would it enrage someone? They're just standing there taking a photo. Why would it enrage me? No, you need to hear what I'm telling you. This is the part you keep fucking missing. Why would it enrage me? Because of the brand and image. Because her brand and image is a seduction slut who abuses millions of people, and she occurs as if she's getting away with it. And then it sets a trajectory of conversation of why won't you say anything? How could you allow this to happen? Which fuels her into I'm gloating and I'm better than you, but it's an energy of it. It's the way she's looking. It's the money she's showing off. There's no intelligence there, and everything she says is a lie. That alone is the focus of the pain of the internet for everyone. You don't turn a blind eye on this shit. But we continuously do. We just say, well, let them eat cake. So now the people that are eating cake are partying in front of us and then expecting us to show up to functions where they're going to educate us on clean eat. I don't fucking think so. Reminding you that the clean eat shit is literally her hiring a chef. While she proclaims to be a pharmacist, while she gets status, your ideas of status, you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. The noise is all of what I just told you. And then I try to educate, reach, but guess what? There's a wall. A wall of a belief system. Whatever in your little mind you think. And then all you do is judge. And then you say this. Well, I don't really get it. I don't know. Not true. Now you just got brainwashed again. So they say jump, and you say how high. They say jump, you say how high. That's slavery. That is why people put people in the gas chambers. What we're watching with the Biden, this is all political. The reason why Biden wants to stay in office is because they've got some weird ass new world order shit, which is what I just explained to you, to control the world. It has everything to do with AI. It has everything to do with Obama. It has everything to do with the Democrats running with delusion, which is a mask of what you think. So you can all be perverted and just have free sex everywhere without any respect for anyone, including doing it on camera with a little 2-year-old right on top of y'all. That's literally watching Rustin go to the pool is an example of two grown adults who don't give a fuck about Rustin, except for the fact that Rustin has developed my personality from watching my videos to where they're now capitalizing off of it. And they're staging what he says, because that's how intelligent he is. So with that being said, that's just a little bit of what I wanted to speak to today. We are working diligently to bring you as much content as possible. 100% of people cannot deliver this quantity of new content. Most people can reproducing contents like in the quantity that Gary and myself produce is challenging. Plus, Gary has people talking. Well, I don't know. Do you have people talk? I guess you have people talking about you too. I don't know. The sharing, liking. Well, I guess I have the same thing. I just can't see it. So this kind of, the first development of content is the most challenging. People cannot sustain this style of living without turning into a psychopath. You turn into an alien or a dead person walking. And me and Gary are like rock stars at this. Because we don't give a shit what you think. That's why we're successful. And then something weird just entered the space again. And I got it. Okay, everybody. We will talk to you. I will talk to you later. I've got a lot of other content coming out today and the coming week. So hopefully you enjoy it. And I'll be making some new stuff too. Okay, bye.